Hi everybody, and welcome to my first episode of my Vanilla Factorio playthrough series. So happy version 1.0 everybody. It is finally the day of the release of this fine game, and this series will be playing the game without any content mods. I have only a handful of quality of life mods, some things which are helping for the recording and some things which are just helping for explaining things. Nothing which will change the pace of the game too much. So this series is ideally for people who are either new to the game or just want to see how version 1.0 vanilla plays out. And yeah, that's just the gist of it. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to explain as much as I can, and I give my best to give this series a beginner-friendly flair, because I myself consider myself as an intermediate player striving to be a better one. So I'm no expert on this game myself, and let's get started, my friends. And if you like this kind of content, I would recommend you to check out my channel. I've got plenty of other Factorio videos there, alongside with other nice strategy games that I love to play. Maybe you find something you like there too. And if you do so, feel free to leave a subscription and you won't miss any future content. First off, there's this spaceship here. This is new. In the older versions, we didn't have a spaceship. So Factorio is a game about automation, basically. So we're going to right-click here and pick up those spaceship parts. There's iron plates in it, and also it's cleaning up this place. So the objective of the game is pretty simple. We have to launch a rocket into space. Because we can't do everything by hand, we're going to build a factory which helps us to achieve that goal. So alongside of this, we need to produce a lot of different things, and we're going to produce all that out of a handful of different base materials the alien planet has to offer. So the base narrative goes like we're crash landed here and we're trying to launch a rocket to escape, or I don't know. You just won the game when you launched a rocket. Maybe something about that has changed during version 1.0, but whatever might be the case, we're going to get started here. When we press the E button, we get into the crafting menu. Here we see everything I can right now craft. Here's some logistics item, that's the production item section, the intermediate product section, so that's things you produce out of basic materials to make advanced materials or products out of that. And last but not least, the combat section. Here goes a vast tree of technology. We're only seeing a fraction of that because we're only seeing what's connected with the automation technology. The whole tree is a lot bigger, so I don't know. So when we're looking for the atomic bomb, yes, you can build those at some point. We're only seeing a fraction of the tech tree here as well. But whatever might be the case, these technologies will help us to build new things. And the base materials the game is composed out of are stone, copper, iron, coal, water, wood, and oil and uranium. So these are the base materials everything will be built out of in the long run. So we start out with a few items: a burner mining drill, that's a machine that just mines out ore by burning fuel; a stone furnace, that's a machine which turns ore into plates; and some wood. So plates have always to be made in furnaces. We can't handcraft these. Handcrafting is a process which describes whenever we use materials in the inventory to craft something else inside the inventory. That's what the Factorio player calls handcrafting. So since I only have a few iron plates, I want to have more of those to create more burner mining drills, because we see here for the burner mining drills I need stones and iron plates, and for the stone furnaces I would need stones, and so on. So let's get here. When we have nothing, when I have nothing, I can just dig out here. So I'm digging out a few units of iron ore, and I'm going to dig out a few units of coal. Also, the mods I use are all in the description down below. You also find in the description down below the world seed of this run, so if you want to replicate it, be my guest. I have all the settings of this game at standard because I just want an average vanilla experience here. So let's drop the furnaces here into the action bar. You can deselect things when something is on your cursor, press Q. That's the standard setting to get things off your cursor. So I'm not going to explain everything of the controls, only the things that made me go like, how does it go again? So now I'm placing down a furnace. One good thing about Factorio is pick it up, place it down, pick it up, place it down. There's never any punishment for replacing things or whatever. So I'm going to put down the iron ore into my inventory and the coal here. So I'm picking up this, hold control, left click, and there we go. Do the same, hold control, left click, and there we go. Control left click is fill up a entity up to the brim with something. So now I'm producing more iron plates, as we see here. Same goes here, hold control, left click, I pick up all the iron plates. That's a really nice and easy way to harvest these things. So since I'm tired of doing everything on my own, I mean mining is, as you see, not that efficient, I'm going to start first off and produce myself some burner mining drill, and I'm going to place it down here, and then I'm going to produce an iron chest. You see that red arrow here, place it down here, and now what happens is the miner outputs whatever coal it mines out into the chest, where I can just control left click and pick up the coal. So coal is now no longer an issue. To bring up more burner mining drills, though, I would need more stones. That's something I have not on myself either. So I'm going to walk over to the place where the stones live. Sadly, my machinery here ran out of fuel. So let's change something about that. First I go over here, pick up the coal inside here, and put it back into the machine. I think I want to do the same here. I'm going to invest my coal completely into that one miner, building more coal. So I use coal to gain more coal. I like that kind of equation. So while I'm running around here, I'm looking for any stray rocks. Sometimes there are large chunks of stone just lying around, but this time no. So the first things to start the game with is, for me, always to build up a small array of miners and smelters that are working, well, not really automated. The ultimate goal of all the things I do here is creating machines that don't need me anymore, that just run on their own as long as there's material. So also, when we look at material, as you see here, stone is 141k, so you get a precise readout about how many units of every element are available there. So I picked up enough stones to create 3 burner mining drills, because that's going to be the stuff I want to start with. So heading back here, I noticed that my machine here already got me 19 coal without using a single unit, so that's really efficient, as you say. So now I have to hand mine some iron ore. In case if you're wondering, there are actually people which are very, very proficient to know the ideal and quickest way around there of the beginning. I'm none of those. I'm just going straight where I want to go. So now I'm dropping down the iron ore in here, and let's go for some other things. So I'm going to go control right click, and that's using half the stack, because I don't want to have all the coal invested here. So another control left click, picking up the iron plates and creating more burner mining drill. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to press R while my cursor is on that thing to rotate it. And what I'm doing now is this. So what happens here is this machine gets coal into this machine, and this machine gets coal into that machine. This ends up with these two feeding themselves endlessly. So what happens here is you can see the tank fills, and now I can control left click on these guys. They still have some fuel left, and they get new ones. So this way we can have a never-ending supply of fuel. This only stops when the supply here hits 50, so there is an end to all things. But the good news about that is, with the iron plates I have now, I'm not quite there yet, but a few more iron ore more, and I'm going to be able to create my first burner mining drill for iron ore, and that's your first mini achievement when you're having kind of like this stuff you're seeing in a moment. So there we go. Creating one of those. And as you might have noticed, the stone furnace necessary for that got crafted in the time between, so you never have to handcraft the prerequisite intermediate products. The game does that for you. So my entities are getting loaded with coal automatically. That's not standard. That's one of my quality of life mods that I use. Normally these would be empty and you have to put the materials in by hand. So in case if you're wondering and you're new to the game, that's the Fill For Me mod. I really like that one because it's a very, very tedious thing to do by hand. So, but enough of that. As you see here, this machine now gets the iron ore into the stone furnace. The only thing they're not having is coal. That's what I have to do manually. Because at some point these machines will lose their fuel. But I could do crazy things, like placing some machines down that transport the coal down here, and other machines that feed the coal into these machines. Maybe I'm going to show that off, but no, I'm planning to show that off in a more sophisticated way and not so much in a inefficient way, because it's absolutely fine to do this phase of the game mostly manually. So here I'm picking up wood. As you see, those trees are all forageable as well, but believe me, there's way more wood on this planet than you might ever need. So a lot of experienced players consider trees a sort of enemy in this game, and the longer I played the game, the more I agreed. Alright, so as we see here, iron plates are racking up in a really nice way, but I'm now having the problem of a severe lack of stone. So I'm going to run over here and drop down one burner mining drill and create myself a wooden chest. These have a quite low storage capacity, but I don't mind. And I'm going to brim fill that thing with coal, as you see here. And now I'm going to have my stones. Whenever I need stones, I'm going to go over here and collect some. So let's hand collect some more, because that miner is not quick enough for my taste. And another thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to limit the amount of storage here. You click once with the left mouse button there, and then I can drag, and I click again, and like this. Now these are all blocked now, because I don't want to have thousands of units of stone one day here that I don't really need, because later on we want to put everything down on these wonderful belts. Belts are your best friends in Factorio, and that's why I want to reduce the chests here to the bare minimum, because chests are nothing you want to work with too long usually, unless you're on some crazy challenge or you just want to prove yourself something. There's plenty of reasons to do crazy things. Never be shy to do crazy things though. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is create another burner mining drill and create that. So when you want to do an exact copy of something, you can also pick the cursor and press the Q button while hovering over the entity you want to copy, and as long as you have one of those things in your inventory, it gets on your cursor to work with it. It's a really nice way to multiply your machineries, so I really like that one. I work a lot with it. So the coal here is running out, and I don't want to use my wood. You can of course use wood as a fuel material as well, but I don't like that too much. So let's get back to the stone machinery, because you see here things are starting to multiply. I can build more and more burner mining drills because I have the iron plates, but right now I'm suffering a bit of a bottleneck when it comes down to the stone. Whoopsie daisy, didn't want to pick up all the coal, but it's getting more and more stone available, more miners available, and now I'm going to do as follows. The amount of coal getting mined out here is starting to be a little bit low, so I'm expanding this machinery here. So as you see here, it's the same concept, and you can expand that as much as you want to. But as we are progressing now, I know that I'll need more and more coal along the way. So next thing I want to do is create a mining facility for copper plates, because right now I might be not needing the copper. Here again, control right click to split the stack in half. I might be needing the copper not so much right now, because it's more of a electronics material, while iron is more of the well, as you see here, more primitive, and well, primitive is not the right word, the hard work, like the mechanics. The mechanic parts are usually iron, but can't really generalize it with that in this game like that. Okay, but again, I think I'm going to head over there to grab myself some more stone. So stone keeps being a little bit of a bottleneck here. That's why I'm considering doing something here. Or, well, nah, it's not necessary. I'm just progressing quite quickly, that's all. Now then, let's set up 2 more burner mining drills and 2 more smelter, 2 more stone furnaces for the iron smelting, because iron is a material I need vast amounts of. So let's drop down 2 more burner mining drills, and let's use the coal, the stone furnaces, and again control right click to spread the coal as much as possible. All right, and now I can pull it off while holding control like that. You can pick up larger amounts quite quickly. So there we go. A lot of things in this game feel a little bit weird to get used to, but once you get used to, the controls of this game are absolutely awesome. One of the best user interfaces and control patterns I've seen ever. And it's all adaptable, so if you ever run into some configurations with this game you don't like, you just go over here into the settings and into the controls, and there you see there's a vast amount of customization options, and you can even put up extra hotkeys for things you want to have. So this game gives you a lot of freedom here, and that's why I love it. Alright, so I don't need the iron ore so much anymore on my hotbar, so I'm pressing the middle mouse button to get rid of that stack completely. Alright, so the next things I want to do, I want to be expanding myself into something more automated. I want to get rid of all the manual processes that I'm doing right now, because believe me, right now everything might be working out fine, but in a few minutes this will just need too much tending. So I want to have machines that feed my machines with materials. Also, the game offers you electric mining drills, which don't need coal as a fuel source anymore, but they need electricity. So we don't have electricity as of yet. So let's produce electricity. That's the second basic step to take when founding a factory. So the base production of electricity always leads you to water, because the base production is putting up boilers, produce steam in there, pipe the steam into steam engines, and produce steam power, electric steam power out of that. So the chain goes like you need an offshore pump, which creates the electricity, which creates the water for you. And as we see here, there's the first need of copper. And then we need a boiler and 2 steam engines alongside with that. Why 2 steam engines? I'm going to explain that in a second, but for now it's enough to know that every boiler can support 2 steam engines. So let's get back to that. And as you see here, I'm already running out of iron plates. I looked so rich there for a moment, didn't I? But no, you need extreme large amounts of materials in this game. And this handful of iron plates, it was a nice start. So I'm dropping down more and more fuel into these things to make sure they'll keep working. Okay, So now I have all the parts that I need. The only thing that's left to pick up are electric poles, because I have to move the power across the land somehow. So electric poles are made out of wood and copper cables. So that's why I need the copper plates, because obviously we produce the copper cables out of the copper plates. So I'm going to put the electric power poles into my shortcut bar, because that's certainly something I want to have in the long run. Okay. Also, what I'm going to need to work here are pipes. So I'm going to produce a few of those right away. But I'm certainly sure that these will not be all. So once we pick up the offshore pump, there's a lot of green squares popping up, and these are showing me where I can put it down. So here we go. As we see here, this is there's where the water goes out, and if you don't see that, just press the Alt button. Alt toggles the visibility of these things on and off. So let's get started. Let's put down a boiler, and let's rotate it with the R button again. I'm going to put it down here. So when we check out the boiler, here we see in the readout, it consumes water. It consumes 60 units of water per second max. It consumes burnable fuel. It consumes that amount of megawatt per second, and it generates steam up to 60 units per second. And if we check out the steam engines, let's put down the two together here. As you see here, it has connectors for steam. I'm just putting connector to connector. That works out with these. And a steam engine consumes up to 30 units of steam per second, and now I think you can easily add up what happens there. We're going to make our steam out of that. But as you might have now noticed, well, didn't finish the sentence correctly. With those 60 units of steam we generate, we can power two of these steam engines, and that's why there's the ratio. Ratios are a thing in this game, which is really, really important as well. But what's now another problem for me here is I don't have any intention of transporting the coal necessary to power these bad boys up by hand up here, because believe me, you'll grow tired of that quite quickly. So let's build another one of those up here. Just like that. I'm using the Q button to copy things again. And let's drop down the pipes. This, I'm going to put them down on the hotbar here, because this is something we use more often. Alright, so this is a pipe to ground. This does the following. I use it here, and you see the yellow outlining, and it leads the fluid underground. This is quite useful, because I can now walk over this place without being blocked out. And as you look here, I can't walk through these pipes. So here we have our first power generation. That thing already burns the coal, and as you see here, it really burns coal quite fast. So I don't think I want to do this by hand. So that's why I'm going to produce my first mining drills, electric mining drills that is. And let's produce more of them, as many as possible as a matter of fact. And let's pick up more coals to keep the machines running. So, and as I see here, they're now saturated. When you're trying to control left click and nothing happens anymore, your machines are usually saturated and don't need any more fuel. But these guys here are hungry. Let's pick up more coal. Nah, I'm not having any, not much more. So, yeah. This is a phase of the game most people try to keep as short as possible. But I don't mind at all. Handcrafting stuff for a while is quite fun and entertaining, until it isn't anymore. Alright, so we're going now towards the transport belts, like I was saying. And now I have everything I need. So let's put the electric mining drill in here, and put the transport belts in here. And hopefully I already produced enough. If not, I'm going to pick up more iron plates, because these things are iron plates incarnate, basically. And now the next thing I want to do is pick up the electric miners. These work a little bit different compared to the burner mining drills. So as you see here, the bright outlining shows the area of effect of that miner. So I'm going to put down these guys like that, opposite to each other. Oh, I think that was not correct. And I'm trying to just leave one grid between them. Yeah, there we go. And now the yellow arrow here shows again the direction of output. And now I take these belts and press R to rotate them. And now let's just hold the left mouse button and drag it over. Alright. So since I don't know if the angle is going to be right, I'm going to make it like that. So one tile distance towards the burners. And there goes. So, of course, we now need a method of feeding these things, because I don't want to transport the fuel by hand. And there's a first use of inserters. Inserters are quite funny machines. They put things from somewhere to somewhere else. That's their basic usage. So you see here, the yellow arrow shows the direction where the stuff will be put into, and the flat line there is showing off where the stuff is coming from. So I'm going to put it here, because we see here we want to take from the belt into the burner. Alright, so let's see here. The icons show me that there's no power plugged in. So let's use these, and again, as you might notice, there's a area of effect outlining, and this shows off how things are working together. Alright, now I'm going to need to put down the power to my mining machines, of course, because as the name might imply, they are electric miners, and I think you get the idea. And now, as soon as they are in the influence of the electric power poles, they mine away. And now let's check out the stats. One of these things produces half a unit of coal per second. So right now I'm producing 2 units of coal per second. This is quite hard to calculate if this is enough or not. So going to feed this belt as much as I can, because for me there is a way of calculating these things. If you look at that, so there's a 4.0 megajoule of power in 1 unit of coal, and these guys here burn 1.8 megawatt of power per second. So I asked around a little bit, and the base math goes like 1 unit of megajoule roughly translates into 1 megawatt. So you might now see this thing burns 1.8 megajoule per second. It's not quite exact, but long story short, these things consume about a little bit less than half a unit of coal per second. So you need basically 1 miner per machine. So we're all out of energy now. And if that ever happens to you, and if you're paranoid like some people, you can also use burner inserters. Burner inserters are not reliant on electricity. They use coal as a means of working, and they don't need electricity to jumpstart themselves. As long as there's fuel in the inserter, it will always pick up something, and it won't use fuel unless it's moving. Same goes for all machines in Factorio. Whatever is not working is not consuming electricity. It only consumes electricity if it is working, with some example. With maybe there are some exceptions to that rule, but if we meet some, be sure that I'm going to talk about it if it is so. All right, so this sums up our first little steps. As you see here, there's now coal running towards there. And since I calculated around a little bit, I could put up 2 more boilers and 4 more steam engines here. So let's do that. There we go. And the next step will be, of course, using those electric mining drills to mine out iron, and then use inserters and belts to transport that iron to furnaces, and use belts and inserters to transport coal to these, and you get the idea. We don't need to do anything by hand anymore, and that's welcome to Factorio. If this is your kind of gameplay, if you like it right now, don't hesitate any longer. Buy the game. It's awesome. It's one of the best things that ever happened. The early access was a lie. This game is finished. Has been finished a few years ago. These guys are just awesome perfectionists. All right, friends, I'm going to end this episode here because I think that's enough of the fundamentals for today. Next episode, we're going to expand this thing a little bit more, because one of the most important things to know about Factorio is the factory must grow, my friends. So, after that has been said, I'm going to say goodbye for today. Hoping you enjoyed your ride around here, and thanks so much for watching. If you're still hanging around, you're awesome for that. I really appreciate if you guys are spending your time with watching my videos. And yeah, so hopefully you come back for more, and until then, have a wonderful time and goodbye.